Welcome to Cat Chat. Last time we learned how important it is to kick the dry food habit, but that can be easier said than done. In today's episode, we'll learn how to transition the dry food addict to a healthier diet. I recently switched both of my cats to an all-moist food diet. It was fairly easy with Monet. We found her by our garbage cans when she was a kitten, and having spent her early weeks scavenging through garbage to survive, she pretty much eats whatever we put in front of her. Tabitha, on the other hand, was a dry food, or what I call junk food addict. If you're trying to make the switch, I hope your cat is more like Monet. Otherwise, keep watching. I found a lot of helpful advice on catinfo.org. That site actually has tons of great information about feline nutrition, and I recommend reading it if you have the time. The best time to make the transition is when your cat is healthy. If they're sick, a diet change can cause other complications if they don't get enough calories. Tabitha was healthy, so I began the transition, remembering the mantra that the important issue was making the change, not doing it fast. It can take weeks and sometimes months to make the transition. Before Tabitha came to live with us, she was free-fed dry food. When I initially tried giving her moist food, she didn't seem to understand that it was food. Cats can be stubborn. Instead of giving in when they get hungry, some cats will allow themselves to starve. It can be really dangerous if they go more than a day without food. I immediately invested in a bag of high-quality, low-grain dry food. The first step was getting her used to set meal times instead of free feeding. I tried to do 2 meals a day, but she looked so pitiful I broke down and gave her 3 a day, divvying up her daily serving. On Cat Info, it says to take up the dry food after 20 minutes, but I never had to wait that long with her. She loves her dry food. I started offering her small amounts of moist food in between meals, but I had to smear it on her gums before she realized it was food. This should only be done if it won't cause undue stress. The last thing you want to do is to create a food aversion. So once she tasted it, she did begin to eat it. After about a week, I replaced one of the 3 meals with moist food. She didn't gobble it up like her dry food, but she would eventually finish it if I stood there, watched her, and encouraged her. It's weird. Affection eating, a topic for another episode. Anyway, after about a week, I replaced a second meal with wet food. Tabitha wasn't a fan and would periodically look at me with sad, hungry eyes, despite the fact that she had moist food available. I would have to lead her to the bowl, smear some on her mouth, and watch her eat. Patience. Patience. After 1 more week, I made the final switch, and I would only give her a few pieces of dry food as treats. She still wants her dry food, just as kids want French fries, but I only rarely give it to her now, and only as a treat. And I make sure it's the low-grain kind. Other tips from Cat Info on making the transition include playing with your cat before mealtime to make him hungrier, and sprinkling a tiny bit of tuna, a smelly treat, or Parmesan cheese on top of the moist food the first few times. By the way, it's a bad idea to add water to the dry food, as doing so can breed contaminants that can hurt your kitty. If you're trying to make the transition and none of the above tips seem to be working, I encourage you to read the transitioning article on catinfo.org. And if you have any tips of your own, please post them. Now let's meet Willie Mays. Now that Willie Mays is retired from playing baseball, he's ready for a new career, being your new best friend. Willie Mays is 4 years old and was in the city shelter for 5.5 months. Being a staff favorite at the shelter saved his life, as they kept moving him around in the cat room to help him avoid euthanasia. He's super mellow and social and is good with cats, dogs, and people. He'll probably want to take a nap with you or share a meal with you. Tuna and chicken are his favorites. He likes to hang out and occasionally will go after a toy mouse. He really enjoys a good belly rub and a head scratch, and he may even stare you down with those hypnotic eyes of his to get you to rub him. Willie will be a wonderful lifetime companion. He's classically handsome with a great Zorro mask over his eyes and ears and an adorable pink nose. He'll be a great cat for a family, and he's waiting for your call. If you'd like to meet Willie Mays, give Cat Connection a call or stop by the cattery for a visit. That's it for today. See you next time on Cat Chat.